I was looking at my calendar this morning, and I had this flashback. It's been, what, 3 years since I spent an entire Sunday copying data from PDF reports into a slide deck. You know that feeling.
Oh, I know it all too well. The Sunday scaries powered by copy and paste.
Exactly. And then I read this stat today that just, it made me stop. That same 8-hour job, you can do it now in about 3 minutes.
3 minutes. And that's not for, like, a rough draft full of holes. We're talking a 22-slide deck, table of contents, conclusion. It's all there. Honestly, it's a little jarring.
Jarring is the word. It really sets the stage for today. It is Tuesday, January 20, 2026. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, I want to slow things down a bit. We're often chasing what's new, but today we're looking at a tool that sort of shifted right under our feet. We're unpacking an article by Max Sam called I Was Wrong About NotebookLM.
It's such a great piece. Max just nails this really subtle change. He admits he was wrong because well, like a lot of us, he kind of pigeonholed the tool back in 2023, 2024.
Right, he frames it as a shift from a toy to a factory, yeah.
Exactly. He basically says, look, in the beginning, NotebookLM was just a place to dump your PDFs and ask, hey, what's on page 7? A simple retrieval tool.
Yeah.
But his whole point now, in 2026, is that it's quietly become a production studio. It went from a place where you collect stuff to a place where you actually produce things. Slides, audio, data tables.
And that is a huge shift in workflow. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to explore that evolution from archive to studio. Then we'll tackle slide fatigue and, whether these AI slides are any good. I'm a little skeptical.
Fair enough.
We'll also look at the new interactive audio, and then we have to spend some time on the Gemini integration. That feels like the piece that ties it all together.
That's the missing link. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm ready.
Okay, let's start with the evolution. Max talks about this move from the old NotebookLM to the new NotebookLM of late 2025. For anyone who hasn't logged in for a while, what's the core difference?
Well, the old version was pure Q&A. You'd upload a doc, ask a question, get an answer. It was grounded, which was its big strength, but it was passive.
Right.
The new version is a studio. It supports up to 50 sources now, PDFs, URLs, YouTube transcripts, and it treats all of them like one collective brain.
50 sources.
50. And the core idea is the same. If a fact isn't in those 50 sources, the AI will not make it up. It's the anti-hallucination machine.
That grounding is so important, but I want to pause on that number, 50. That sounds like a lot of information, a lot of noise.
It is a lot of noise for a human. But this is where I honestly had this moment of wonder reading the article. Just, imagine trying to hold 50 different documents in your head at once.
Impossible.
Completely. Yeah. You're trying to find connections between a YouTube transcript, a legal PDF, and a website. We just can't do it.
Yeah.
Our brains aren't built to parse that much unstructured data. But this tool, it synthesizes it instantly.
It connects dots we wouldn't even know were on the same page. So let me ask you this then. Does this shift from just retrieval to production actually change the work we do? Or does it just make us better hoarders of information?
It stops us from hoarding info and starts us creating finished work.
Okay, from hoarding to creating, that leads us right into the first big use case Max talks about. Slides.
The bane of every office worker's existence.
We mentioned that 3-minute number at the start. He lays out a scenario. You're doing a competitive analysis. Normally, that's 50 tabs open. You're fighting with text boxes.
Oh, the worst.
In NotebookLM, you just upload the sources and click Generate Slide Deck.
You wait about 3 minutes.
Okay, here's where I have to push back a little. I've seen AI-generated slides. They usually look like a 10th grade science project, or the text is just off. Is this actually something you could use in a boardroom?
That's a totally fair skepticism. Yeah, and Max is honest about it. He says, it's not Canva Pro, it's not Adobe. You're not going to win a design award right out of the box.
So what's the value?
The value isn't the graphic design. It's the structure.
The structure?
Yeah, think about that blank page problem. You're staring at an empty PowerPoint. You have no idea where to even start. This tool gives you a 22-slide deck that has a logical flow. Title, executive summary, market analysis, conclusion. It builds the argument for you.
So it's less about the final polish?
And more about the skeleton.
Okay.
Exactly. It changes your role. You're not the builder anymore. You're the director.
Yeah.
You stop moving pixels around and you start critiquing the story. You can tell it, hey, focus more on the market gaps in slide 4, and it adjusts.
That's a really interesting mental shift. You're directing instead of doing the labor.
Right. And for us non-designers, I can't match colors to save my life.
Yeah.
He brings up the infographic feature. It's the same idea. You have this wall of text, maybe a dense policy document, and you know nobody is going to read it. You click Lay plus Infographic, and it visualizes the key data from what you gave it. And again, because it's grounded, it's not just inventing numbers to make a pretty chart. It's using the actual data from your PDF.
That reliability is the whole game. So let me ask, does this actually replace a human designer? Or is it doing something else entirely?
It's a first draft machine, not a polished final product.
A first draft machine. I like that phrasing. It lowers the barrier to just starting. Let's pivot to the second big use case, what Mix calls the custom expert.
This is probably the most 2026 feature of the bunch.
He sets it against generic chatbots.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
all been there. You ask a very specific question about your company's internal project, and the bot gives you this beautifully written, super confident answer that is completely wrong.
Or just gives you the most generic advice. To manage a project, try using a calendar.
Right. Thanks for that. It just lacks context.
So NotebookLM acts as your project-specific expert. You create a notebook, and you only upload your relevant files. Your brand guidelines, your meeting notes, that one messy PDF from HR about the new benefits.
And it just ignores the rest of the internet.
Totally. It puts on blinders. It only knows what you've put in that folder. So if you ask it, what is our refund policy for legacy clients? It doesn't just Google refund policies. It looks at the handbook you uploaded and gives you the actual policy.
You know, I have to admit something here. I still wrestle with prompt drift all the time. I'll be working with a generic AI, trying to get it to stick to a certain tone or follow some rules, and 5 prompts in, it just forgets. It goes right back to being a generic helper. It's exhausting trying to keep it on track.
It's so frustrating. And that's the beauty of grounding. It can't drift. It has nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Max points to a perfect application for this. Training packages.
Walk us through that one.
Okay, so imagine you're an HR manager. You upload the company handbook and maybe a few process videos. You can ask NotebookLM to generate a study guide for new hires based only on that content.
Okay.
Then ask it to make a quiz, then an FAQ, but in the company's voice. You're taking one source of truth, your documents, and you're just refracting it into all these different useful formats.
So every new hire gets the exact same information from the exact same source.
100%. No more game of telephone where the policy changes a little bit every time someone explains it.
Okay, so what is the singular advantage of restricting the AI to only your uploaded documents?
It eliminates hallucinations and guarantees answers align with company policy.
Precision over creativity. But speaking of a different kind of engagement, I guess, let's talk about audio.
Oh, the feature that kind of broke the internet for a minute there.
The audio overview. I remember when that came out, it was so uncanny. 2 AI hosts sounding a bit like us, just bantering about a chemistry textbook.
It was a cool novelty at first.
Yeah.
But in 2026, Max's point is that it's evolved into a serious learning tool. The big upgrade is interactivity.
Interactivity. Because before, it was basically just a radio show you couldn't talk back to.
Exactly. You just listened to a 15-minute generated podcast and hope it covered what you cared about. Now you can actually stop them.
Okay, give me a real-world scenario. How does that work?
So picture this. You're on a walk, listening to an audio overview of some dense legal contract you need to understand for a meeting.
Yeah.
The AI host says something like, Section 4.2 has a strict liability clause.
Mm-hmm.
You can literally tap your headphones and say, whoa, pause. Explain strict liability like I'm 5.
And the AI just responds.
The other AI host will jump in and say something like, good question. Basically, it means you're responsible even if it wasn't your fault.
Yeah.
And then it will cite the specific paragraph in the contract where it got that information.
That changes everything. You're not just a passive listener. You're actively interrogating the source material.
That's it. It turns your passive time, your commute, your walk into active study time. You can go down these little rabbit holes. You can even challenge it. Are you sure that's what it says? And it will double check.
It's like we're finally closing the loop between reading something and then discussing it. So is this just a neat tech demo, or does it really change how we consume dense information?
It makes academic and legal texts approachable for normal people.
It democratizes density. I like that. Now let's get to maybe the most complex part of this whole system, the Gemini integration.
The power combo.
Max's article treats this like it's the real missing link. But for a while, these felt like 2 separate tools. You had NotebookLM, the safe librarian, and Gemini, the creative artist. Why mash them together?
Because most of the time, you need both.
Yeah.
But you need them in the right order. Let's take the workflow he describes for writing, say, a crisis PR email. Something went wrong, and you have to talk to customers.
High stakes. You can't get the facts wrong there.
Not at all. If you just go to a creative AI and say, write an apology email, it might invent a refund policy you don't have. It could make promises you can't keep. It's dangerous.
So you start in NotebookLM.
You start there. You upload the incident report, the customer service logs, your legal guidelines.
Yeah.
You use it to synthesize the actual facts. You get a bulleted list of exactly what happened and exactly what you are allowed to say or offer.
The grounding phase.
Right. Then, and this is the magic button, you click Open in Gemini. It takes that safe, fact-checked context and pushes it straight into the creative engine.
And then you just tell Gemini, write an empathetic email based on these specific facts.
Yes. And because Gemini is the artist, it handles the tone, the empathy, the professional language.
Yeah.
But, and this is key, it is constrained by the facts that NotebookLM provided. It can't invent a new refund offer because the notebook never gave it one.
So it filters out the potential for hallucination before the creative work even starts.
Precisely. You get the safety of the librarian with the flair of the artist. It's a workflow that solves both the blank page problem and the lying chatbot problem in one go.
That distinction is so important. It's not about one tool doing everything. It's about a pipeline.
A production line.
So why is the integration with Gemini necessary if NotebookLM is so good on its own?
NotebookLM analyzes facts. Gemini adds the creative flair and expansion.
The analyst and the copywriter. Okay, we're going to take a very brief pause here. When we come back, we'll dig into the hidden truth. Why, if this tool is so powerful, Max claims almost nobody is using it yet. Stay with us.
And we are back. We've been talking about this transformation of NotebookLM into a full-on content factory. But there's this section in Max's article that's a bit of a puzzle. He calls it the hidden truth. He asks, if this is so great, why isn't it everywhere? Why isn't every knowledge worker using this all day?
It's the billion-dollar question, right? He points to three main barriers. The first one is just classic Google. They are terrible at marketing their own stuff.
That's not exactly breaking news.
No. They launch these incredible features like the interactive audio, and it just sort of appears in a menu one day. There's no big announcement, no tour. If you weren't actively looking for a generate slide deck button, you would never know it's there.
A discovery problem. Okay, what's the second reason? Friction. And this one is really interesting. NotebookLM requires some upfront work. You can't just open it and type, tell me about the Roman Empire. You have to find your sources. You have to upload them. You have to give the notebook a name.
In a world of instant gratification where ChatGPT gives you an answer in 2 seconds, that 5 minutes of setup can feel like forever.
It does. But Max makes the argument that this friction is actually a feature, not a bug.
How so?
Because the prep phase is a filter. By forcing you to choose your sources, to say, use this PDF, not that website, you're doing the quality control yourself. You're making sure the output isn't built on garbage. The friction is the price you pay for accuracy.
That's a great reframing. The friction is a safety rail. And the third reason?
People mistake it for a search bar. They think it's just another way to ask, who won the World Series in 1998. But it's not a search engine. It's a production studio. If you treat it like Google Search, you'll be let down. If you treat it like a research assistant, you'll be blown away.
This all brings us to the core idea Max leaves us with. He talks about synthesis. And I want to reflect on that for a moment. In 2026, our problem isn't a shortage of information. We are drowning in it.
Right. The problem is not creating new text. We have more than enough text. The problem is compression.
Compression.
Yeah. Taking the insane amount of data we already have, all the PDFs, the videos, the Slack threads, and compressing it into something useful, something actionable. That's the big idea here. NotebookLM isn't about adding to the noise. It's about making sense of the noise you already own.
That is a really profound distinction. It moves the value away from generation, just making more words, and toward understanding.
Exactly. And that's why it's a tool that's going to stick around while a lot of the other flashy stuff fades away.
So as we close out this deep dive, I want to leave you with a choice that Max poses. Do you need speed or do you need depth?
If you need a quick answer to a trivia question, use ChatGPT. It's faster. But if you're building a training course or analyzing a competitor or trying to understand a complex document, you need depth. You need that grounding.
So my challenge to you, the listener, is to try the content factory approach just one time this week. Don't just ask a question. Go upload a brand handbook or a project archive, and then ask for a blog post outline or a slide deck, just to feel the difference between grounded and the open web.
Just give it a shot. I mean, even if you don't end up using the slides, just seeing the structure it creates is worth the 3 minutes.
It's been a fascinating look at how our tools are starting to shape our thinking. From simple archives to interactive studios, I'm really eager to see what you all build with it.
See you in the studio.
Until next time, keep diving deep.